Last summer, I guess it was, in August or July, I had just finished a painting, and I had been thinking about my prairie upbringing, and I called the painting When the Roads Were Straight. And I thought it would be really nice to do a whole series on that subject, being the prairie girl. I moved out here when I was 10, and I thought, oh, Irma would love this because she's also the prairie girl. So I call Irma and I said, do you want to do a show? And she goes, yeah. And that was the beginning of it. So yeah, we were both from the prairie, so it was, Irma's a landscape painter and I do other things, and so it was our approach to our prairie upbringing and what that means to us.
And the other part is that we've been friends for way over 20 years.
Oh, way over, yeah.
So we're both from Saskatchewan. We both are full-time artists. We both do a little teaching here and there and workshops. So there's other similarities, and we've had work in group shows together.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it just all made sense.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Here we are. It became the show. So all of the paintings, I think, for me, were done really in the past 6 months. I don't know about for you, Irma.
No, about half of them, and some of them are from
prior
2019. There's one, I think, from 2018.
Yeah,
and
so it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work to get it going, and to keep a series is one thing. To keep it all within the same realm, within the same ilk, is a whole other thing too. To keep, at least some consistency. And when you look at mine are like little. Some people thought they were a little bit all over the map, particularly the bull one. He's the only one that's a bit of an anomaly. But for the most part, there's all that fracturing kind of thing that exists in all of them. So yeah, do you want to talk about your paintings first?
Well, people that are used to my artwork know that I always have a horizon line, and I sometimes do just abstract works, but this I kept with either Saskatchewan or Alberta in mind, or a prairie with my horizon lines. And sometimes I add color where in reality there may not be, but some of the colors can be a little boring in the summer in the prairies. So I just put the color in and keep the landscape. And this is more almost drumheller, or it could be parts of southwestern Saskatchewan, or over in Capel Valley. So it just depends. And then these ones, that's the same idea. They're just parts of prairie. And I'm quite happy. I like these long ones because it just lets me do the whole panorama.
My turn?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it in front of my stuff then? Okay, let's go to this guy then. My approach was, if you've been on the prairies, there's a couple different things. Well, there's three things really. There are the fact that, especially in the flattest part of the prairies, you can see forever. And that hasn't changed since people started homesteading there. It's been the same then as it is now. So that for me gives me that sense of time and space. And the other thing is that dichotomy of the weather, which is ridiculous. It's so bloody cold in the winter and so hot in the summer, plus all the bugs. So you've got that nice big contrast. So it's like a kind of fracturing of weather systems, really. And the other thing is, when you fly above the prairies, you've got the beautiful patchwork quilt landscape, which is so stunning. So I sort of took it as that fracturing of like I was saying, the time and space of when you're looking out, how nothing has changed, but also the fracturing of the weather and whatnot. And I imagined that if I could look at I think back really, and I think back to when I was spending time on the farm on my uncle's farm when I was a kid, and your memory is very fractured. So when I look out at the field in my mind into the pastures, I may be looking through, past the corral, past the barn. But at the same time, I'm looking maybe from behind the combine, maybe from over by the house, by the chicken coop. So those memory is very fractured as well. So I wanted to take that idea of it and somehow make it a two-dimensional work. so that memory is one, and fracturing, time and space become one. And as in always, and since I've been painting for the past 30 years or so, I've always tried to make a blend of sort of what's going on in my head and what's going on in my heart. And I find that very important. And that takes just a lot of time and experience to sort of get that visceral and cerebral on the same balance. So that's really what I wanted to do. And most of these are from a specific point in time. This one here, this one's called vertical perspective. So it refers to different times in life of you that need to get above everything and see beyond the big picture and sort of see everything. So when you're a kid and you first climb a tree on the prairies and you get so high on those poplar trees that go straight up, and you get so high up there, you just go, oh my goodness, you can see everything. And you go into this whole world of make-believe and what it must have been like, to start to come in from, European countries and homestead there. So it just becomes a whole different time and space thing for me. So I tried to sort of play with that throughout all of the works in various forms.